With Mexico City's Benito Juarez International Airport being the most transited in Latin America, there is no doubt it is a significant hub for the region. Aeromexico, Mexico's flag carrier, is the main operator in the airport and offers some great deals between different parts of the continent transiting through Mexico City. For this reason, and having traveled through this airport a few months ago, I thought it would be a cool idea to talk you through the connection process in case you're wondering what to do once you arrive. My itinerary took me all the way from Buenos Aires to Cancun and then the other way around back home to Argentina. This said, I had both a domestic connection coming from an international flight and an international connection coming from a domestic flight. Let's break them through. Before that, there's a quick note I want to make. This video breaks through the connecting process in Terminal 2, where Aeromexico operates. If you're connecting on any other of the Mexican carriers, this process will very likely be similar, but in Terminal 1. That said, let's go on. Starting with my arrival from Buenos Aires, as I was arriving from an international destination and connecting on a domestic flight, I had to enter Mexico. You still have to do so if you are connecting to another international flight though. So, once I arrived at Terminal 2, I had to go through passport control. My first glimpse of Terminal 2 once I got off the plane was not too pleasant. It smelled bad and wasn't particularly nice. Anyway, what you have to do once you get off the plane is just follow the signs to the passport control. No matter if you're connecting or staying in Mexico City, if you're arriving on an international flight, you will have to legally enter the country. It was a pretty long walk until we made it over there, and to my surprise, there were a lot of people in the line, even though our flight arrived pretty early in the morning. However, I was pleasantly surprised by how quickly the line advanced. More used to these lines in the United States, I was expecting at least an hour if not more, considering the amount of people, but it just took us about 20 minutes. There were a lot of cabinets open, which that early in the morning is not always the norm. Very well done by Mexico City's airport. Once the passport control is cleared, it's off to security. Transiting through Mexico City, unlike what happens in the US, you don't need to take your luggage and drop it off again. It goes straight to your final destination. So even though you will go through the baggage belts on your way out of the passport control, you will just have to follow the connection sign and make your way to security. Just like that, after clearing security in 5 minutes, we were airside at Benito Juarez International Airport's Terminal 2. All we had to do then was head to our connecting flight's gate. And that's the connection done. By the way, I will give you some information that might come in handy. Gate announcements at Mexico City Airport are done between half an hour and an hour prior to the scheduled departure time of the flight. Before that, they only inform the zone where the flight will depart from. However, the signs around the terminal only show the gate numbers, not the zones. I found this quite puzzling, honestly. I recommend you just ask the airport personnel so that you can head to your gates area and try to find a seat nearby. Mexico City's airport Terminal 2 is usually overcrowded, so finding where to sit is not an easy task sometimes. This is why they try to keep everyone at the central part of the terminal, where most of the shops are, by not announcing the gates earlier. This way, they can supposedly avoid too many people being in the gate concourses, but still, this doesn't quite work. The terminal is clearly over capacity. Another quick fact about the terminal is that its strange architecture doesn't allow spotting aircraft from the gate areas. So, if you want to spot some planes, there are some very nice views from the central part of the terminal where these windows are. These are pretty much the only views of the tarmac in the whole terminal, so yeah, bear that in mind. Onto the international connection coming from a domestic flight now. This was even simpler than the other one. Arriving on a domestic flight, you don't have to go through any kind of passport control or security. By following the connection sign once you get off the plane, you will find yourself airside at Terminal 2. This said, connecting from a domestic flight at Mexico City's Airport Terminal 2 is a very quick process. It basically requires you to walk off the plane and onto your next departure gate. Just like that, We have covered the connecting process at Mexico City in two different scenarios, which are basically the only two possible. You either enter the country coming from an international flight, whatever your final destination is, or if you are arriving from another Mexican city, you just make your way to your connecting flights gate, wherever that one goes to. I hope you found this video useful, and if that was the case, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more aviation related content. You can also check the channel for other videos of my trip to Mexico and many other trips as well. I'll catch you next week for a new one. Until the next one.